Hi guys, and welcome back to Birmingham Fan TV. This is the Bftv preview show. This is your Cardiff preview, sponsored by Boyle Sports. So guys, thank you so much for joining us again. The weekend is almost upon us, and that means only one thing. Blues are back at St Andrews this weekend as we take on Cardiff City. Guys, don't forget, before we do get into the video, to like the video as ever, as every week, as every video that we release. Obviously, the more likes, the better. Shows us that you're enjoying it. Don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on everything we discuss. Obviously, Cardiff, a very good team at the minute. Having a little bit of a dip, but a very, very good side. And let us know your thoughts on this weekend's opposition, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. We're so close to 1,500. Can we hit it by this weekend's game or just after this weekend's game? That would be great. Thank you so much to our principal sponsor, Boyle Sports, as well, for this game. Don't forget to go and follow them and check them out. They've got some great deals ahead of this weekend's game. All the links will be down below or on the website. T's and C's apply, and you have to be 18 or over.
Just one more thing, just before we get into the preview. If you haven't watched our podcast yet, that will also be linked down below. Great one this week with me, you and Chris. So if you haven't given that a watch, then definitely check that out after you've watched this one.
Yeah, if you want to find out about Villalba's socks. Pretty good.
And me getting angry over it, then yeah, definitely check that. Right, so we are playing Cardiff this weekend. Last time we played them, it was a weird game, wasn't it? With a weird refereeing performance and just a generally confusing game overall. Yeah. Cardiff currently sit 12th in the league. We are 18th. Mm-hmm. So they are not hugely far ahead of us. Neil Harris has come in the probably middle part of this part of the season.
Just after they played us, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And he came in, he's done quite well at Cardiff. Yeah. I'm quite impressed with him. In the league, Cardiff have only won 1 in 7. So that sort of gives us a little bit of hope. But let's look at their last lineup first. So they had Smithies, Peltier, Morrison, Nelson, Bennett, Pack, Bacuna, Hoylett, Tomlin, White and Gatzel. So they lined up in a 4-2-3-1 formation. What are your opinions on Cardiff so far this season, and what do you think they're going to finish like?
They're a solid team. They're a typical, at the minute, mid-table championship team. They don't have enough to go back up, I don't think. They've suffered that sort of dip in form after relegation. They're one of the teams that struggles to go back up. But they've done okay. Neil Harris has steadied the ship. They didn't look particularly inspiring under Neil Warnock, but Neil Harris has come in and done better than I thought he'd do.
Tale of two Neils.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And he's building something there. And I think they'll do okay next season as well, with the right additions. They've got some good players, though. Really good players in that team. Marlon Pack, who, we're all a big fan of on this show. They've got, the likes of Lee Tomlin, who we know at this level is a bit of an enigma as well. A really good player, despite him looking about 20 stone overweight. He is a really good player. They've got Gatzel, who they spent a fair bit of money on. But the fullbacks as well, for me, are really dangerous. Bennett and Peltier are a consistent threat for them, and they did so at home. I know Joe Rowell scored 2. I don't think he was in the last lineup, but obviously could come back in. I don't know if he's injured or not, but they've got a good squad, a good set of players, Junior Hoylett as well, and they're going to pose us big problems on Saturday, especially from set pieces. Like we said, I think it was 1 in every 3 of their goals comes from a set piece. That's a really big stat considering how poor we've been from set pieces this season.
You like that stat, don't you?
Yeah, you found that one out. Yeah,
who came up with that stat? Me.
Yeah. Look, you've got to get your stat from somewhere, haven't you? Someone finds that for you, so...
That's very true. Whoever did that, thank you very much.
Yeah. No, they're a good team. They are dangerous. They're going to be good from set pieces. And, you can't also take them lightly from open play as well. So, Blues are going to have their A game on to get anything out of this one.
Going on to us at home, our last home game was in the Cup against Blackburn. We did win that 2-1.
We're skipping over that league game.
Yeah, well, I think there's some positives to take from that. We have now won our last home game.
Yeah.
So we'll go forward on that. We'll build on that. And we won our last away game. So maybe we've turned the corner. The last time we played Cardiff at home, we beat them 1-0. Mm-hmm. So it is a happy hunting ground for us, really, being at St Andrews. What are your thoughts ahead of the fixture?
Big game. It's as big as the Luton game for me in terms of Quartet's head's still on the line. He's not out he's not in plain sailing yet. He knows he's got to get a result, and our home form has been simply dire in the last 2 months, and he's got to turn that around if he's got any chance of surviving or, to the next game.
I think last season our home form was so strong that it almost carried us a little bit. But this season we haven't been able to rely on that. Why do you think that is?
I think at the start of the season we were all right. I think we started the season up until October pretty well at home. I think we'd only lost one at home, and results had pretty much been coming just from home, and we didn't do too well away from home. It's kind of flipped a bit. We've been doing okay. Reading away, Luton away, we win. A couple of draws on the road. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's what we struggled a few years ago with Lee Clark at home, and he used to say that the players hated playing in front of our fans because nerves, etc. It's nothing to do with that. I think teams have figured us out at home, and I think teams have figured out that we're quite one-dimensional at home, and we've got to be better at home. We've got to take the game to teams more. We've got to be creating more opportunities like we were against Blackburn and Luton at home back in October when we looked at our best. We're not even creating half of what we were back then, and that's been our biggest issue, goals.
What do you think the key to that has been? Who and what has been the change that has made us go downhill?
Lots of things. Vialba's been out of the team. Crowley's been missing for a bit. We've had to shift Bellingham around. We've had injuries to Roberts and Clark-Salter. I don't think he's been able to pick a settled squad or his best squad, like he said in the week, and that's a little bit on his part. I feel a bit bad for him, Quartet, but at the same time, he doesn't help himself in game, and he's got a team that's good enough to win some of the games we didn't win at home. The West Brom game we should have got something out of. The Wigan game we shouldn't have lost, but we did, and that's been his biggest downfall. So yeah, I think that his biggest game is now because he should have his two centre-backs fit. He's pretty much got a full-strength squad other than Vialba, sort of. Sunjic is back from suspension, so he's pretty much got a full range to pick from. And if he loses this one, what's his excuse then? You know what I mean? At the same time, I think the performance of Luton was good, like we've said in the podcast. Go and check that out if you haven't already. We went a bit more in depth with that one.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. Some people didn't like the performance. I thought we were dominant for 80 minutes. Sending off the penalty were the only two real mistakes we made in that game, and that's not the manager's fault. I thought his subs were pretty good. I thought we did everything right. In the Blackburn game, it wasn't a good performance, but we still got the win with 10 men. So if we see another good performance, then fine, let's carry on, get some players in and build from there. If not, if he loses, well, I don't know where he goes from here because he should be getting at least a draw out of this game at home, certainly.
Okay, so Dean's out of the team, obviously, because he's suspended, but also Mark Roberts is back from injury.
Sort of.
It's a touch and go one, isn't it? We'll probably find out on the day, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's probably still sidelined for this one.
Might be on the bench for this one.
But in that case, James, give me your starting lineup. Who would come in alongside Clark-Salter for you?
Well, starting goal, obviously, Truman was dropped last game. Back in came Cam for the league game for the first time in a while. And for me, it's kind of a case of
the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, like you said in the week, it's kind of like, which one do you want to pick? Truman's got his faults, Camp's got his faults, but I'm going to go stick with Camp because he did okay. A couple of good saves against Luton.
He's very commanding, wasn't he, against
Luton?
That's
his thing, he's experienced, and that's all we need at the minute is his experience. We know he's going to drop a clanger at some point, but it's the experience. Two fullbacks stay the same. They've been excellent this season, Max and Peds. Right back and left back. Obviously,
great stat from the Second Tier podcast as well, which you were on recently.
Yeah,
I'll pop that in there. That they said that Pedersen and Max were the best fullbacks in the league. So
statistically speaking, pretty much, yeah. I think they've been involved with 11 goals this season, either assists or scored, which is the highest of any two combined fullbacks in the league. So yeah, they've done really well. Obviously, Clark-Salter came back in to partner Dean against Luton. Good performance again. We've missed him. So he plays, and I think it's got to be Harding. I think if Roberts isn't fit enough, and don't risk him if he's not 100%, it's not worth it. We want him back for the rest of the season. If it means one more game out, we can play Harding at right centre-back, Clark-Salter at left centre-back. Harding should be more comfortable at right centre-back.
Yeah. So
put those two in, and I'm thinking it's going to be like that. Centre-mid, it's going to be a 4-2-3-1. It's got to be Bellingham. I think he'll come back in that. Not in the holding position. I think he'll play David Davis simply because of his performances have been consistent recently. And I actually think he'll stick with Gardner as well, and I think he'll have Sunjic on the bench to bring on as an option.
You know what? I thought they were really good together against Luton. Really strong, held their own, and were really good. So I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, not that Sunjic deserves to be out, but
No.
I think that those two don't deserve to be dropped more so. So keep those two in for now. Bellingham in the number 10 position, back in. Crowley on the right, Bella on the left-hand side, and Lucas Jukovic up top, obviously hoping to get back into double figures if he can score this weekend. If he gets 10 goals in January, fantastic return.
10 goals in January?
Well, 10 goals at the January point in the season. He's done really well again this season. And I know I've been a critic of him at times this season.
So have I,
hold my hands up. And I think it's more the system that hasn't fit him. We know he gives 110%, and he's been there. He's Mr. Reliable for us again. So long may it continue. There's no need to drop him.
Your score prediction. I'm going to go first.
Yep.
Because it might give you something to think about. I'm going to go for 3-2 Blues. Now, hear me out on this.
No, carry on.
We've been scoring a lot more recently. We almost concede at least one at the moment. And Cardiff score a third from set pieces. If we give a set piece away, I can almost guarantee they'll score.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's why I'm going for 3-2. What would you go with?
I don't think it'll be that high scoring. Cardiff, when they go away from home, look to try and be more solid than anything. So they don't score a lot away from home. They also don't concede a lot away from home. We do look like we've got a goal in us most games, but not full of goals. It's a tough one. I don't think we're going to lose this one. I don't think we look like losing the last two games. I don't think we look like against Blackburn or Luton. That confidence should be enough to make sure we don't lose, but whether we've got enough to get the win this weekend, tricky one. I'm going to go with 1-1. I'm going to sit on the fence and go 1-1. I think probably... I think Dan Crowley could score in this one, actually. So I'm going to go Crowley, my goal scorer. And that's pretty much where I sit on that one.
Okay, so two very different score predictions. Two very similar lineups. Guys, let us know what you think down below. Leave us your score predictions and your lineups for this weekend's fixture against Cardiff. Let us know all your thoughts as per what we've discussed throughout this episode. And we will see you in the next one. Keep right on.
You're on, guys.